On today's Patriot Nation podcast, the Jets came to town and the Patriots finally got their first win of the season. And so riding high, going out to LA on Halloween. It's going to be an interesting battle out there in LA. So it's going to be a good conversation between me, Spags, and Keegan today. We're also bringing on Renshaw for our 5-minute fantasy section. It's a heck of a show. So buckle up and cue the music. All right, gentlemen. 54 points. I know it was the Jets. But 54 points is 54 points. That's pretty impressive.
Only team to do it this year. The first team to score 50 plus. They needed a game like that, and I know, right? Like I'm kind of caught in the middle too, right? Like almost prove it versus a legit NFL team, right? Like they lost Zach Wilson early on in that game. Not that he really would have made a world of a difference. But I think it's something that this team needed, right? You heard Belichick talk about it in the locker room. This is a good win for us to start believing in some of the things that, we're preaching. Obviously paraphrasing here, but you get the point. And I had tweeted out before the game, right? Sunday started a stretch of must-win games over the next 6 weeks before you get Buffalo for the first time, right? They're a game out of the loss column versus Buffalo, right? Or a game out of the win column versus Buffalo. Right. Yep. Right now, you still get them 2 times. They get some tough opponents, right? I wouldn't compare it to the first, I'd say 5 weeks of the season, but some good opponents that are beatable, right? Like I think the Chargers, I'm not sure if I can believe in them yet, right? Sunday's a big test for them. You get Tennessee, who's playing really good football right now, beat 2 good teams back to back. Cleveland at home, right? And then you sprinkle in, Atlanta, and I'm missing a team there, but. Anyways, right? No, Jacksonville's week 18 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, I just think, like we talked about the last week, right? If you can go 4-2 and get to 500, maybe a game under, game over, you're still in a good position, right? Say the biggest issue is, and I know I'm ranting here. The biggest issue is you're 3-4. Say 10 win gets you in the playoffs, you got to go 7-3 over your next 10. Is this team good enough to do it? I think offensively they are, right? I mean, we're 7 weeks in. I'm surprised at how good the offense has been. The defense hasn't been. I know they played much better, but like I said, they faced a guy who had 0 NFL starts, and their secondary
0 NFL plays.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
They're I just think they got to get healthy, and this defense is going to have to surprise a lot of teams. They got a big test Sunday. That's a legit opponent and a legit offense.
Yeah, I mean, Sunday's like for both teams. No, I wouldn't say must win because you can't slap a must win on every game, but it's kind of the litmus test for both teams. They're similar, like the talent is there for both teams. Los Angeles is in a new program, like they've got a new coach, but the Patriots have a bunch of guys coming into a program that they don't know. So similar situations there. Like they're in the same boat. So I think they're going to get each other's best shot. Like LA's not going to want to get embarrassed on their home turf again after last year. New England needs to go out there and get a win, really, if they're going to want to start getting their eye on the playoffs. So I think it's going to be a tough game. And we talked about it on Kieran's show like 20 minutes ago, but the things that you do well line up really well against Los Angeles. I know this was supposed to be about the Jets, but we've already moved on. They won. Yippee. They beat the Jets. But like you run the ball well, you control the game clock. Like that's what you do. The Chargers can't stop that. They haven't been able to for like 2 or 3 years now. And on defense, I think the Patriots are good enough to turn the ball over a couple times. Like they've got talent on that offense, but they're not very careful with the ball. So I think it lines up well for the Patriots in terms of the matchup itself, but you're going to get their best shot.
Yeah, no, I hear that. And that's, look, I think that this is a tough matchup for the Patriots, man. Herbert's playing so well right now. The Chargers offensively are a wagon. So it's definitely going to be a challenge for them. But at the same time, like you guys said, like the Patriots have been playing well too. Like, don't sleep on the Patriots now. Like they're 3-4, and someone was talking about, Vegas and how Vegas looks at things. And essentially, when you're predicting games, you're trying to predict the outcome of games. Those, the close games are a toss up. You don't care about the outcome of those close games because the idea is that one play here or there decides those games. And so you don't almost don't factor those into your decision of whether, of how you're going to bet that team or not. And so in that situation, look at the Patriots, and outside of the Saints game, they've been in every game, right? Mac has driven them down the field to get them into position to win or tie the game in every game except for that Saints game. And so you look at it and say, well, based on that, like, they're in all these games. Now, they haven't been able to put it together to win, and that's really obviously the only thing we care about. But, like, they've been right there in all these situations, right? And I love the fact that Belichick and McDaniels hurt us, right? McDaniels was more aggressive calling plays. Belichick was more aggressive in the decision-making, went forward on fourth down.
And they moved Mike Onwenu to right tackle.
Yeah, and they moved on one to right tackle. You're right. And
7 weeks.
And that end of the end of the first half. End of the first half is the perfect example of exactly what we're talking about. Where, against the Cowboys, you get the ball, you got a minute 20 seconds left. Now you got no timeouts, but you got a minute 20 seconds left. Try to drive the ball, see what you can do, and they did nothing. This week they got the ball against the Jets and they said, "Screw it, we're going." And they went all the way down the field and scored a touchdown to end the half. And that really changed the tide of that game. And, put it out of reach before the half was even over. And so they really got aggressive with it. And again, you're playing the Jets, so you can take more chances. But to me, you need to take more chances when you're playing a better team, because that's when you need those advantages to win, right? So, hopefully we'll see something well moving forward. But we'll see. By the way, Dark Blue Gold is asking this question about the JJ Taylor play. I've said it before, right? I was not mad. I was disappointed at the Pat Spola people for not getting me that gif of JJ Taylor when he went in between the blocker and defender and just kind of squirted through. I don't know. I still don't know how the hell he did it. But he popped through like it was Ace Ventura popping out of the rhino. You know what I mean? But anyways, yes. Third quarter, you say, Keegan?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Third quarter. There you go.
It was after halftime, so cut it in half.
And they were going the opposite. They were going towards the closed end of the stadium, and I believe that they finished the game going towards the open end of the stadium.
Yeah,
I think. Third quarter. So there we go. Anyways, but we'll see, right? I think you guys are right. Like, it's a winnable game. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it out, but I think it's a winnable game. It's a game that they can win, and if they want to be in the playoff hunt, this is a game they kind of have to have.
And this week too, I touched on it. I don't think it's posted yet, but last week, all the variables went in their favor. It was you were at home, you played a backup quarterback, the Jets suck. You had an opportunity to try new things, right? This week, everything's the opposite. You're going on the road. You're playing a really, really good team with a fantastic quarterback, a head coach that you haven't seen before. You've seen his defenses that have given you trouble. Brandon Staley's defense held them to 3 points last year. It was a different offense, but they kicked their teeth in last year. I think we all remember that Rams game. It was a thorough ass kicking. So
yep.
You're facing a guy who he's had your number the 2 times that you've faced his defenses before. So now, I know last week it started, but now's the time to start some new stuff. Try some things out, and maybe not even try things out, but the stuff that worked last week, like Jonnu in the backfield, Onwenu at right tackle, which we know is not going to change. We know that they're going to move forward with that. But Onwenu at right tackle, Jonnu in the backfield, you're trying different concepts in the passing game. You're running the ball effectively. It's hard for me to believe that all of that stuff's going to line up and then they're still going to lose the game. I know how good the Chargers are, but it's hard for me to think hey, everything's moving in the right direction, but you're still going to get your ass kicked or you're still going to end up losing a close game. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. Spags, question for you. I go to you, Keegan, too, but you said Onwenu at right tackle. Obviously, we're happy about it. We love it. Assuming Trent Brown comes back at some point this year.
I was just going to bring it up.
Who sits down? Who sits in that situation?
So what I think, and this has been bothering him since he left, this calf thing, right? And the Raiders, I think they were a little pissed off, and I think that ended the breakup there, right? They felt maybe he could play, and there was a little bit thing going on with the medical staff and Trent Brown. I think that kind of came out afterwards after he was dealt back here, but the fact that this has been bothering him, and he was almost back, and now he's back on IR, and I'm starting to think they're thinking right now we may not get this guy back. If he does come back, what they should do is, I think you play him at left tackle. I don't think Isaiah Wynn's been great, and you play Onwenu at right. I think Ted Karras has played exceptionally well the last few weeks and deserves to start on this offensive line, right? But he's an interior guy. So that's a good question. What they should do is, right, like I said, I think you open up a competition with Wynn, because Brown's proven he can play left tackle, and they've been efficient with Onwenu at right tackle. But I think they like him at guard more, and I think you'll see the week one kind of lineup
and
with Karras kind of coming in and out.
And with the chip on his shoulder, like Wynn played really well last week. I'm sure everybody saw the clips floating around, like of him throwing people, but it wasn't even just that. He was solid, and I don't think he made the mistakes he was making.
With him, I'm so curious because remember when he was drafted, he was drafted as a tackle, but people were like, oh, maybe they'll kick him inside because of his size. I'm curious what he looks like, and we've never seen him in the interior. I don't think we ever will. But with Brown back and Onwenu succeeding at right tackle, they would never pull Mason. Does he compete with snaps? I mean, it's a lot of shuffling, which means they probably won't do it. But I just want to see what he looks like in there, because I think he's got the speed and the footwork to play in there. And you see flashes at tackle, right? Like Sunday. And then he's just been, I'm a big PFF guy. He's one of the league's worst tackles that's played, pretty much every snap this year. So I don't know. I do think we can go around in circles and all the different ideas. I think you were spot on. I think they shut Trent Brown down for the year. I think that's such a Patriots move. Like, you put a guy on IR, because you don't know what the injury really is. And then everything ends up working out. So why make it difficult on yourself? It sucks for him too, because this is kind of his last chance. Like, I think they really like him.
It's contract year.
Yeah, it's a contract year, but I think internally they like him. Belichick spoke a lot in the preseason to us about his leadership, and just, he was happy to be back here. It was almost like a breath of fresh air for him, at kind of a rejuvenation of his career. But now, if Onwenu succeeds at right tackle, right, like you were going into the draft this year, I think we can all agree their first two picks should be tackle and corner. If you can eliminate, one of those tackle spots going forward, with a guy on a rookie contract with 2 more years of team control, I'm sorry, Trent Brown. Like, maybe you come in as a swing tackle. You can't be trusted to play every single game anymore.
It's like, it's become a Patriot staple. Sorry, we keep bouncing back and forth, Pat, but it's become a Patriot staple. Like, let's push this problem we have back a year. And by leaving Onwenu at right tackle, that pushes the need for a franchise tackle. It pushes it back a year, because you've got Win. They picked up his option, so he'll be back next year. Now they don't really have to worry about that early on in the draft, and they can focus on corner, which is an absolute must need this year in the draft. So I think that's something that they're more than happy with doing. Like, that's a later us problem. We don't have to deal with it right now.
Well, and I think the other thing too, and this is just, look, they keep talking about how Onwenu is a guard, right, and should be a guard, and overall he's going to be good at guard and blah blah blah. Okay, well, last year he was an elite right tackle. This year he's been a really good right tackle. Like, at some point, it's kind of like, well, who's going to be the big scary guy that comes through and all of a sudden exposes Onwenu as a bad right tackle? Like, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
And if you're going to see it, it's going to be this week, which is a nice thing. Like,
yes,
you're going to figure it out real quick, because they've got a guy coming that they're going to be playing this week that he'll expose, especially a guy who, the problem with Onwenu, the idea behind why he shouldn't be a right tackle, is because he's too big and he's not fast enough and his feet aren't good enough. He'll get exposed real quick. So this is a good week to figure out whether or not you want to keep him there. But like you were saying, I did cut you off, but it's like, he shouldn't be a right tackle, but he is a right tackle. And we don't want him there, but he's really good there. It's what do you want and what is best for your football team? And Bill Belichick says it all the time. I'm going to do what's best for the football team. And right now, what's best for them is keeping him at right tackle.
Right. And think about the guys they've brought in to play guard. Like, you can find a guard out there. You can.
Yep.
Tackles are not as easy to find. And if Onwenu plays well at tackle, leave him.
And look at their draft history, really, just like the last, I don't know, when they've drafted somebody, and I mean, like, invested in it, right? First 4 rounds. Tooney, Karras, right? Karras was, I don't know.
Karras was a 5th rounder, but
5th rounder. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Shaq Mason.
Onwenu. Shaq Mason. I know Onwenu was the 6th rounder, but for some reason they hit on the interior. So find a tackle and roll, because you got your interior lined up. I think what Shaq Mason's up after next year. Onwenu has 2 more years of control after this. I mean, right now he's going to cost big money, but why not?
Yeah.
You got Andrews for the long haul. He's your captain, and then Karras was on I believe, a 1-year deal. So their line. I mean, that was the biggest thing from Sunday's game, was just how well they played. Mac Jones was clean. I think he got hit twice, and not like these blows we saw the first 6 weeks where he was, you were wondering if he was going to get up.
Yeah. No, that sack was like a trick play almost. You know what I mean? So, yeah. I mean, I think.
By the way,
I think
just on the trick plays, like they burned 3 trick plays, and a lot of people were talking about that. Good, because 2 of them stunk. Like, get them out of here, throw them in the trash, never run them again. So now you know they don't work. Yeah, it's perfect. The triple throw, like to Bolden, to Mac, to somebody else, back to Mac. Like, you don't need to do it. Throw it away. So
what was the other one that stunk? What was the other one you thought that stunk?
There was another one that didn't work. I think it went for like 4 years. Oh, it was supposed to be like a double reverse pass, and Bolden ended up with the ball in his hands and then got tackled for like a 2-yard gain. I'll have to go back and look. But there were 3 of them, and 2 of them didn't work.
Yeah. And listen, I mean, the other part of it too is that, yes, like, sure, you burn that play, right? The Bourne touchdown. But like, okay, fine. Next time you run that play, if everyone thinks it's a pass, he just takes off and picks up 10 yards. It's just not like, so what, So I don't know. Also, shout out to my dad right now, sitting on a beach in Hawaii, wearing a dope hat, watching us on his phone. Appreciate the commitment.
Oh, yeah.
Appreciate the commitment. So, yeah. So, but anyways, listen, big game. Obviously, we know that. One thing I do want to talk about, obviously, John Jones gets hurt. He's done for the year. We knew he was going to IR. We did not know it was a year-long thing until obviously he opted for surgery, I think Monday, or was that Monday that he opted for surgery? So, he's done for the year, unfortunately. Tommy Curran and Phil Perry talked about this on their show just briefly. And I think it's just worth bringing up again, the Stephon Gilmore trade, because I don't want people to I wrote a whole article and said that it's the worst decision Belichick ever made and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want people to misunderstand me here. They traded Gilmore because they had to this year. You had to. Trading Gilmore at this point was the right move. The problem is you should have traded Gilmore 18 months ago. Now, and so here's the argument, right? And so we can kind of go through it, but you have two cute cornerback ones, right? Jackson, Gilmore, both done after this year. You knew going into this year, they were both done after this year. You knew you could only sign one of them. So you had to choose which one you were going to sign, whether you wanted Jackson, whether you wanted Gilmore. If you chose Gilmore, then you should have said, we're paying Gilmore. That's it, paying him. If you choose Jackson, you say, okay, we're paying Jackson. That's it. Well, if you're paying Jackson, you trade Gilmore. If you're paying Gilmore, maybe you want to let Jackson kind of ride out and then, let him go and you can get a compensation from whatever. Fine. I get it. Fine. No problem with that. You knew Gilmore wasn't playing on his deal this year. So you couldn't let him go to the end of this year and then just let him walk in free agency. You couldn't do that. You had to give him money in order for him to play this year. And they didn't do that. And my argument is very simple. Before the draft, you had no cap space. You signed all those guys before the draft. You knew you had no money. You knew you couldn't give him any money. And still, you were still negotiating with him. And now, if you're in a situation where you said, oh, well, we're going to choose Gilmore over Jackson, well, what the hell? Now you change your mind and give up Gilmore for nothing, and you're going to let Jackson walk too? And maybe you chose J.C. Jackson, but if you had chose J.C. Jackson, wouldn't you have known that before this year? And so, now I'm in this situation where it's you completely botched it. And again, and I'll just reiterate it again. Let's just say, let's play it out. Carolina does not re-sign Stephon Gilmore. They let him walk. They're going to get a better compensatory pick back than the pick they traded for Stephon Gilmore. They're going to have traded up in the draft. They will move up in the draft to rent Gilmore for a year. And that
I have a quick question.
Disgusting mismanagement.
I don't think you get a comp pick if he doesn't play a certain amount of games. It's got to be 10 games or something. I don't think he's going to meet the threshold to get a comp pick. Or if he does, it's going to be he comes back and plays every single game and plays really well. You know what I'm saying? Like if he comes in, he plays 8 games and has 1 pick. You don't just get a comp pick because his name's Stephon Gilmore. That's not how it works. Like,
but depending
it's based on numbers,
depending on the draft, depending on the value of the comp. Someone goes out and gives them big money, you're getting a comp pick back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. And
I mean,
I think
the biggest thing for me with the whole situation, and I wrote kind of a similar piece, Pat, but I just think they knew this situation was going to eventually happen, right? Where you had 2 guys up at the same time. You obviously want to keep the homegrown guy, the cheaper player, in Jackson, somebody that, like I said, is much younger. He's 25 right now. The issue with me was, like I said, they sat on their hands for 2 years, right? I mean, he's been moaning about money for 2 years, and they bumped money up, right? And Belichick's classic for when you sign the contract, don't come at me for more, right? And I think that was the biggest thing where they eventually knew this was going to happen. There was reports last year at the trade, like they should have traded him last year at the deadline. And I know COVID had a little bit to do with it, right? You had to, I'm helping them out here and making an excuse for them when there really isn't any. But I think that was the biggest thing. Trade him then.
I think it would have been a really good thing for them if they put the 2nd round tender on JC Jackson and someone matched it, because then you get a 2nd round pick for him, and now you have to pay. Like there's no more decision to make. You got to pay that guy because you're not going to have a corner. Instead, no one matched, so you've got both guys. You end up having to ship Gilmore out because you ran out of time. You kept pushing it back, like I mentioned earlier. You push it back. Runs out of time. You got to ship him out. And now, like we talked about with Ryan, like you want to throw $90 million at JC Jackson, and do you want to not have a number 1 corner? Those are your 2 options. And those are 2 really, really bad options for the Patriots, because as much money as they spent this year, they're not going to have enough next year to really to do everything that they would need to do, right? So
and what's he going to –
they got caught.
Do you think he's 90? I mean, if he hits the market, what's he getting?
If he hits the market, he's a $90
16,
million
17 a year, right?
Yeah. So, and
you don't want to tag him, because I think that's probably around that number too.
It's like $20 million or something.
And he switched agents 3 times. Shout out Chris Mason. I was talking to him after the game, and he noted it. He's had 3 different agents in 3 years.
Yep.
He was with Rosenhaus, which when you looked at that, you were like, okay, that's a good thing because they do business very well here. And he fired him before this season. I don't know who his new agent is, but I'm pretty sure he has 3 agents in 3 years. That's something to keep in mind. He has all the cards now, right? You traded Gilmore. You didn't pay him. You have no corners. Your secondary is thin now. You have to pay him, right? I mean, and he screams if he hits the market. I love the player. I love his attitude. He's another guy where he's like a silent killer. You don't hear him much. He's very soft-spoken, and he lets his play do the talking. If he hits the market, he screams to me, he's the highest bidding guy. Like, I'm going to the highest bidder.
Absolutely.
I don't care if it's the Jets.
There's no hometown discount for JC Jackson. He said it not in as many words, but he basically said it at the beginning of the year when they talked about money. He said, I'm not worried about money right now, but when my time comes, I'll cash in. Like, he was like, when it's time to worry about money, I'm taking every dime that I can get.
Right.
And that's no fewer words.
So, by the way, the projected franchise tag next
15?
year, 17.4, because right now it's 15. 17.4 is quite a bit.
If they want to use it like they did, use it to protect him and work something out, great. But I don't want a Joe Thuney situation.
Well, and that's the other part of it. And the other thing too is that now you're in a situation where,
hey, maybe you do want a Joe Thuney situation because you'll just find a really good cornerback like Mike Onwenu. Like, you'll just find his replacement from the scrap heap like that.
No, and that's but do you even have the cap to do that? Like, do you even have the cap to give him $17 million?
I don't know if you do
in guaranteed money, because you're not talking about we can push the cap down the road. You can't do that if it's a franchise tag. So
yep.
a lot of issues there. I just think that they completely botched this whole situation, and now you're right. We're sitting here saying, well, what are you going to do? Like, Jalen Mills is going to be your number 1 corner next year. Like, what the hell's going on? So like, you almost don't have a choice but to re-sign JC Jackson. And so it's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're going to do, but I still think anyone who is supporting that trade still, I think is crazy. Is
there anybody? Because I don't know if I've seen anybody.
Again, Tommy Karn on his podcast with good friend of the show, our buddy Phil Perry. We're
Shut
talking
up.
about it was the right move. And like,
It
Well,
was the right move to trade
trade
him,
him,
but not
right.
the timing and what
Right.
they got. I mean, like
Right.
they're lucky they got anything from him. The guy hadn't played in a year, coming
Yeah.
off a torn quad at 31 in a contract year. They're
but
lucky
they
got
literally
him.
they might as well not have gotten anything for him. Like they might as well not have gotten anything for him if it's a 6th-round pick in 2023. I mean, like really, it's just foolish.
And they didn't save any money by trading him either. Like they got what was it, 5th or 6th round pick?
We got a 6th-round pick in 2023.
So if you just cut him, like what's the difference?
Right.
if you just go ahead and cut him, like with the 6th round pick. I know they hit lottery tickets all the time, but like, why didn't you just cut the guy and let him get his contract now?
Because the difference is that they sent him to Carolina. So instead of him going to Kansas City or something like that, he's in Carolina,
which is absolutely where he would have ended up.
100%.
Kansas City would have thrown a bunch of money at him.
Yep, 100%.
Or Tampa. I mean, that's
right, and that's kind of the deal. Is like we're trading him to Carolina because Carolina stinks, and he's going to go to Carolina for a year, and then he'll be 32, and then who knows what's going to happen after that, right? So,
and that might have been a goodwill thing too, because I've never seen that guy smile so much than in the pictures where he showed up to Carolina, like hometown.
Yeah,
feels like, all right, listen, I didn't pay I'll let you go to Carolina. Like that's where you're gonna go. But
that's a good point.
But there's other moves that can be made that can kind of get that out, and I think it starts with like J.C. Jackson. An extension's not happening. It's not going to be an extension. It's going to be he'll hit the open market, and then you'll see. But I think they'll have a chance. Whoever his agent is going to come back, and they're going to be like, "This is the number. Match it, or we're gone."
Right.
And I would be shocked if they didn't give New England a chance to match.
Right. Unless someone came in with a stupid offer and was like, "Listen, it's either you take the deal, you take the deal now, or you leave." You know what I mean? So, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. He's going to
look terrible in like Vikings purple.
Oh Christ! But one other guy I wanted to just give a quick shout out to, Hunter Henry, touchdown in 4 straight games, the longest such streak for the Patriots since 2017. With who?
2013? No.
Gronk.
Nope.
Edelman.
Oh, it's a non-tight end.
Yes, non-tight.
James White.
Nope.
Is it Cordero Patterson?
Nope.
Oh,
receiving touchdown.
What's his buddy in Houston? Brandon Cooks.
Nope.
Amendola.
Chris Hogan.
Chris Hogan.
Oh, there it is. Who just retired. Congrats on a great career.
Yes.
You owe him a lot.
Chris Hogan.
He should have he should have hung it up a year ago. But
no, it's not good. I mean, listen, he had his time in the
two
lacrosse league and everything. So
something like that.
But I think offensively, I really do believe that offensively, they can play with these guys. I really do. Yeah. So, but we'll see. So that's what I think is offensively they can do it. You know what I mean?
And you talked about it before this, and not to move you on. I don't know if you were getting into anything else. I wanted to talk trade deadline and possible targets and guys to get away. You said it earlier.
Doing
but
a thing. I'm going to be a Debbie Downer. They're not going to do a thing.
No.
They're not. You're right.
I've got names, and they're all special teamers. They're all like 6 foot.
Maybe another Justin Bethel.
No, it's going to be like Albert McClellan, or Nicholas Grigsby.
Yeah.
They just signed Calvin Munson, who stinks. Terrible linebacker, great special teamer. Like they're going to do something like that, which is what I wanted to talk about. But there's also the option. I think the only move that they would be willing to make is at running back. And Marlon Mack's been floated out a million times, and I don't know if they're going to make a move. But Indy's in a spot where they're running out of options.
Yeah.
Now he's and there's another guy I have in my mind. I want to see if you guys can guess who it is. But Marlon Mack, they're like Indy's running out of options because he's a DNP guy right now. Like they're just not playing him. He's not getting the ball. So why not get something for him right now? And it doesn't have to be something big, like a 5th or 6th round pick. So
Mark Ingram went today back home, but I would have loved a guy like that. 10 to 12 touches.
A guy that you can run into the ground too.
Yeah,
you don't have to worry about the injuries.
Damien Harris has been awesome, right? I think he's been their best player the last 3 weeks.
Yep.
And certainly putting them in position to score points, and he's holding on to the ball, knock on wood. But that's until it's proven otherwise, can you run him into the ground, right? He's coming off the game. He's coming off the field at least once a game, right? Limping or something stinging, and it's not his fault, right? He's taking a beating. He's touching. I think of the last 3 weeks, he's like 3rd in touches behind Kamara and Derrick Henry. Like they're running him into the ground and it's working, but can that hold up? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think you want to is the point. Like this
Right.
guy's in year 3. You've got another year with him next year. Plus potential. This is a potential long-term option at running back, which you've never had. I don't know if they care about having one, but like LeGarrette Blount's been the longest-term guy that they've had, and they had him for like 4 years, but with something cut in the middle. It would be very nice for them if they could just have their guy. You know, like this is our guy. He's going to be here for the next few years, but you got to take care of those guys because the way they use their running backs, they run them into the ground and they ship them out. They get rid of them. They don't really care. I don't think Harris is a guy you want to do that with.
Well, I think the thing with Harris, and they have used him a lot for sure, but like you saw in the Dallas game where it was like, oh, it was a Harris drive, then it was a Ramondre drive, then it was a Harris drive, then it was like
Houston.
I
too.
like, and they did the same thing in Houston, right? And they did a similar thing last week with JJ Taylor, not quite as much. Brandon Bolden's on the field a lot when they were passing, but like I just think that they like to run the ball. They want to run the ball, so you want to. You want to run the ball a lot. You're going to, he's going to get a lot of carries because they want to run the ball. Right. And so, having another guy in there, by the way, is the guy you're thinking of Ronald Jones? Probably not, but
what to trade for? No, it's a defensive guy. We'll talk about that after.
Oh, I thought you were talking about another running back. Okay. No. Mind. But it's
Ronald Jones. Get out of here with that.
I mean,
Kyle
listen,
Fuller.
Tampa doesn't want him.
It is Kyle Fuller. How did you know
Of course
that?
it's Kyle
I knew
Fuller. Kyle Fuller would be amazing, dude, if they could get Kyle Fuller. Are you kidding me?
He's a DNP. They've had him active and not playing for 2 straight weeks.
That's crazy. Patriots
And they just signed him to a
$9
$9 million contract.
They should be like
out from
on
under
the
that
phone right now with them
Yes.
because that also gives you leverage in this whole JC Jackson situation. You
And you
have now a guy that can play. He's not
And you can
great,
go-
but he's a guy that
You can go
play.
half and half with Denver. I guarantee you Denver takes on half
Is he a
that.
man guy though? I mean, they love their corners that can play man.
I think he's a man guy. Like, and
He's an outside corner too.
he's an outside guy, but he's really good in short area. Like he's getting beat deep a couple times, but he's so good short area, like down at the goal line. Like that's where he's really good. And I think he's a perfect fit. You pay $4 million, probably less, probably like $3 million for that guy for the rest of the year. That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
$3 million in a 5th round pick. I'll
And
take it all day.
let's hope they do it. But that's one of those. That's like an Aqib Talib type trade where it's like not happy with the team, and you're like, you know what? We need it. We need a guy. We need a friggin' body out there. And like, it looks like Sean Wade might be back this week or like in the next few weeks.
But they're hitting that territory where it's like we don't care who it is; it's a body, so you might as well get a good one. Like Devontae Bosby, I do like him. I think that's interesting, but he's not going to be here very long. He'll probably be here for 2 or 3 weeks. Brian Poole is an inside corner, and that's all he does. Like he's Adrian Phillips, but not as good, and a corner instead of a safety, if that makes any sense. So it's like you're running in circles with these guys, and what they're doing is they're filling up spots on the practice squad and the roster, but eventually you're going to want a guy who's going to stay here for more than 2 or 3 week stretches instead of because like if a Poole or a Bosby gets hurt, you're out, you're done. We're gonna replace you. That's you know what I'm saying. So it would be nice for them to get a real cornerback.
It would be, and again, because you don't have any on the roster, and you have Jalen Mills, fine, but Jalen Mills is not. You do not want Jalen Mills as an
is your
option
slot
as
corner if you get Kyle Fuller.
Correct.
So everything falls into place.
Correct. And that's the big thing. And, and listen, we talked about it, we went back and forth about this on Twitter, but like, I was always a huge Juwan Bentley guy. And last year he was awful. He was awful last year, but he was awful last year because he was playing in the Hightower role. Now Hightower comes back. All of a sudden he's in his role and he looks a million times better because he's playing his role. And right now, Jalen Mills stinks, but because he's playing outside corner.
Even after the year of learning that Hightower role, like he's setting everybody up in the front 7.
Yeah, he is.
Hightower's not doing it anymore. Hightower is, what do I do, boss? Like, you let me know what I'm doing. Because you've seen it 3 straight weeks now where McCourty's got the green dot, but Bentley's the guy getting everybody into position in the front 7. So maybe a year will help Jalen Mills, but I definitely don't think it's at outside corner because he just doesn't have the skill set to do it.
Right.
It's not, he doesn't know what to do. He cannot do it. So you slot that guy down to where he should be, get another guy in that position, buy yourself a little more time, which we know they love to do. I think it's a no-brainer that they should at least pick up the phone.
We're going to talk this in, and then Kyle Fuller is going to go to like Indianapolis for like a 5th round pick next year, and we're going to be beating our heads against the wall like you son of a, and like that's what's going to happen. And Spags is right. Either going to do nothing or they're gonna trade for some like special
Special
teams
teamer.
guy, and
Yeah.
we're like, God damn it, like
Because
we got our hopes up.
when
and
you
didn't do
finally
it,
get rid of one of the special teams guys that you signed, what do? Go get another one instead of filling in one of the many needs you have on.
And you know what? Like at this point, like why not move a guy and trading guys in season doesn't usually happen, but like why not move a guy like Chase Winovich? Like I know Winovich is on IR now. I don't know if you can trade a guy on IR, but like he's a guy that was playing more special team stats than
He's a
defensive
special
stats.
teamer now.
Like
that's what he is.
And that's just
Special
that's
team
not,
rusher.
right. And like that's not what you need. But someone might look at him and say, you know what, we could use another guy that can get after the passer or whatever. So like, I don't know. We'll see. You know what? Speaking of rushing guys, Josh Uche, just for a second. I have not been impressed with Josh Uche. I really expected a lot more from him, and he's getting swallowed up by tackles. He doesn't have that explosiveness. I haven't seen it from him.
You saw
I haven't seen it
a little bit. I mean, he's not getting on the field consistently too.
That's the
I
thing.
think he's a little undersized for what they like in their edge, and I think it's crowded in that linebacker room because I don't think he can play, in the middle.
I was just about to say, I think
I would love to see him in the Van Noy role because I don't think he's been that good either. Like play him off ball a little bit.
I think they're phasing him out of what he came into the league as, which was like he was doing the same thing Chase Winovich usually does. But if they want long-term success and to get the most out of him, it's in a Kyle Van Noy role where he can play off ball a little bit. He can move around in space. He's a really good athlete. So let him be an athlete, not go one-on-one with a 380-pound tackle. Like I do think that they're trying to phase him in, but the Patriots, like if you can't do everything we need you to do, then you're not going to play. And then that's where he's gotten caught. He's just not good enough against the run quite yet. I think he can get there, but right now he's not good enough.
Right. Yeah, I agree. So anyways,
back to Winovich, last thing on Winovich. He is never going to succeed in New England if they keep having him do what he's doing, like special team or edge. It's never going to work out. So another situation, get rid of him, try to get what you can get for whatever value he still has left, even though you've completely tanked his value from his rookie year. It's dropped exponentially. Right.
And that's really, unfortunately, that's kind of the situation that we're in because it's just one of those, crappy situations where it's like, I love Winovich. I have Winovich jersey. Like I was expecting big things out of him and he just can't play the run. He can't do it. He cannot play the run. And so they're like, well, we don't care about you. Like we just see you later. Get out of here. And so you just got to kind of cut your losses. I think at least at this point. So plus I got to buy a new jersey anyways. Christian Barmore for the win. I gotta buy a Barmore jersey. So anyways.
Sean Wade, baby. Gotta get a Sean Wade jersey.
Hey man, Sean Wade. I like that one. I don't know about that though. I'm a little early on that. Sean Wade there. So
trade the jersey.
Trade the jersey.
Dark blue gold. Trade it to that guy from Houston. You'll get like a nice Davis.
See, there you go. Davis Mills. I'd be okay. No. So all right. I think it's it. Do we have anything else? Anything else you want to chat about before we move on? Okay. All right. Cool. Ooh, Myers. Look at Team Crazy Matt over here with a Myers jersey and a Judon jersey. Number 9. That's
get the red sleeves.
Too. Oh man, if you wear a Judon jersey, you gotta wear red sleeves every day.
Dude, I gotta get a license or something to make t-shirts because we'll make millions off those t-shirts.
And
no one took the idea.
By the way, this is private. No one else is gonna listen. If he
mute the mics,
brings in Donovan Mitchell, like
to Boston.
I mean, him and Mitchell got a little thing going on Twitter. He's red sleeve guy.
Hang out on the weekends. So, they got to get him. I'm saying,
bring him to Boston. Oh, we love it here. This and that. Like
Judon sent him a jersey the other day too, signed.
Yeah,
love it. Yep, bring him in. Come on, buddy. We need you. So, anyways, all right. So we're gonna get into 5-minute fantasy. We're gonna bring on a guy. Matt Renshaw. I had to ask for his first name because I call him Renshaw on the on the tweet machine. But Matt Renshaw, Matt is we pull him up here. Matt is a co-host of the Dynasty Dads podcast. Him and I are in an Avengers group chat online. So you know how that's stuff
Spags has tuned it out already. He's like, I'll be back in 10 minutes.
So Matt, the way this works, and I explained it to you already, but those of you that haven't listened to this already, I am literally going to put 5 minutes on the clock, and Matt is going to be able to talk about anything fantasy he wants to chat about. If we have some questions for him, if the chat has any questions for him as
I
well.
want first question.
And so I guess we'll give Keegan the first question. So I'm going to start. I'm going to start the timer after the first question.
Got it.
We'll get a full 5 minutes, and then we'll chat with you for a few minutes afterwards.
Sounds good.
All right, Keegan, you're up. Go.
All right, so I drafted Kyle Pitts in the 4th round of my dynasty league this year. Good,
Startup.
bad, or ugly?
That's amazing. Is it a tight end premium league?
I don't know what that means. I'm a terrible.
It is not. I'm
Not
the
at
commissioner
all,
of that
okay.
league. It is not a tight end.
Okay, is it a 2 tight end league?
It is not.
Yes.
No.
Well, we've got super flex and a flex, so
Well-
it's basically it.
Well, yeah, it's basically a 2 tight end league. Those flex positions can play anything. But
Yeah,
4th round pick for Kyle Pitts, not bad.
It's not bad. No, it's not bad at all. I mean, I think
He scored like 40 points last week. The guy's
Kelsey probably went ahead of him. Maybe
Yes.
Yeah.
Waller.
Kittle, Waller, and Kittle. were all good.
Yeah. It's not bad. He's probably a second round pick in tight end premium bonus points for your tight ends or
Yes.
2 tight end leagues
Or
where
2
you
tight
got to
end
start
leagues,
2.
Whatever.
So
Yes.
I mean, I think everybody saw that coming. There's a lot of people online that love him.
I invented Kyle Pitts. People they don't want to tell you. Spags knows.
There you go.
I got Devontae Adams out and Antonio Brown out with a bench of Jacoby Myers, Jalen Waddle, and I'm starting Robert Woods. He's my 1 this week, I
Okay.
guess. So, do you feel comfortable in Waddle and Myers for kind of plug and plays?
Yeah, if I do a segment on the Dynasty Dads called Renshaw's Renegades, where we look at guys that are owned in 50% or less leagues on one of our host sites. One guy that I highlighted this week, Dante Pettis, kind of a throwback name. Last 2 weeks, 5 receptions. He's got 16 targets. Looks like the Giants wide receiver room's kind of banged up. He's probably out there if you're desperate, if you've got an extra kicker or defense or somebody you can drop. He's a guy that I like this week as a plug and play.
That's a good one. I like that. Dark Blue Gold asked about Julio Jones. What ever going to see anything from him this year?
I think so. I think he'll be okay. It's a hamstring. The older you get, things start to hurt a little bit. They take a little bit longer to recover. I think he'll be fine. I think he'll finish in the wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 2, high end wide receiver 3 area range, whatever you want to call it. So I'm not looking to sell him yet.
Khalil
All right.
Herbert, is he a play at running back too? I got Josh Jacobs on bye with James Robinson.
Yeah,
as my
Herbert.
one.
Herbert should be good. Is Matt Nagy still there? Or is he fired yet?
Hey, he had 100 yards in that Tampa
disappeared
D. I don't know if Tariq Cohen's back. I don't think David Montgomery's back. That's a
Montgomery's
safe
not
play at
back
RB2.
for probably 2 or 3 more weeks. Herbert's a good solid play. Yeah,
Did he take that job from Williams? Seems like he took that job from Williams, doesn't it?
probably.
He
Yeah,
had 6 touches last week.
Yeah, and he's coming back from an injury. He's young, fresh legs. I like
Yeah.
him.
I know
So-
Williams came off of the COVID list like Saturday, so that might have had something to do with it. But it seems like Herbert obviously did well. So
Yeah, absolutely.
So I literally don't have a quarterback this week. Russell Wilson's finger exploded, and Derek Carr's on a bye.
Okay.
What do I do? I'm nervous.
Who's you got any names? Anybody available?
Daniel Jones is on the trading block.
here's
Mac Jones.
this one: Cousins, Wentz, Bridgewater, any guys like that. Now
It's a dynasty league, so like
this is the dynasty, but it's also super flex. So Keegan, there's nothing available.
Oh yeah,
for
there's probably
Keegan
not much.
because it's super flex. But
Mike White. Yeah, Mike White fan. He's starting for the Jets.
it's not a bad idea. Well, I need one just to get me points.
yeah,
Like, I
because
don't know
you
if Mike
literally
White will.
you don't even have
I don't
the
have
quarterback. Forget about the super
I
flex.
went-
You don't even have the
I
quarterback.
went 2 quarterbacks. I thought I was gonna be smarter than everybody else. I grabbed Davis Mills, who's on my IR right now,
Yeah.
unfortunately. So that's a no go.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna be smarter than everybody else, but I'm not.
You can always grab Drew Lock and hope that the Broncos bench Teddy.
Oh, see again, it's
I
possible.
might start
an
Jacoby
option.
Myers at
it
quarterback.
depends on how desperate you are, but that's an option for you.
And how
Jacoby
about
Myers
Green?
throws the ball like once a game. So
How about Green Bay? Bobby
Oh, that's
Tonyan,
ugly.
Cobb, like Amari Rogers. Are we going to see like
So
Rogers going to throw to someone, right? Who is he
the
going to throw
big
to?
beneficiary is Aaron Jones. Like that's your guy
Chandler's
that's
back
gonna
this week
see-
too. MVS.
Yeah,
Oh,
MVS
yeah.
is back. Yeah, I think on so one of the gambling websites they ranked it Cobb, Tonyan, and then MVS as your top guys that are probably going to score. I think it's good for Tonyan. Scored a touchdown last week, kind of getting back in the flow of things with the offense, especially with no real. I mean, St. Brown to me is garbage, so he's not even anybody that I'm real worried about taken any targets or anything there. So now he'll score a touchdown because I said that.
I know. Yeah, makes sense. Are you all back in on Jerry Jeudy, or is it a wait and see for you?
It's tough. You probably in a redraft league, you could probably afford to sit him on your bench for a week and wait. But there are people like we talked about Saquon Barkley as an example. Monday night game.
Yep.
Do you put him in your lineup and he may not play?
There's the 5 minute.
I would wait on Jeudy.
Okay, wait on Jeudy. Barkley, Saquon. Finish the thought. Play him or no?
It really depends on what you're doing. So, like, I'm in a league where I'm playing against a guy. I've got a stronger team. He's going to need a high output from Barkley rather than like a 6 point from somebody on your bench.
So he's going to play Saquon for the.
It really depends on your stuff.
Makes sense.
Me, if I had a strong team, I wouldn't. I'd put him on the bench and take 6 points from a guy that you know is going to put up something.
All right, got it. Love it. All right, Matt. Plug yourself, please. Tell us where people can.
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter.
See you, hear you.
I'm in an Avengers Marvel chat.
Yep.
You find me on Twitter at Renshaw Fantasy, at the Dynasty Dads podcast. We're sponsored by DynastyTradeCalculator.com. Stop guessing, start calculating. I appreciate you coming on, guys.
Absolutely, man. Thanks so much for having us. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on with us. Listen, it's funny because we've gone back and forth so many times about like different Avengers theories and stuff. By the way, starting a club at my school on Monday.
Sweet.
The Marvelous Marvel Club.
Nice.
Kids are going to come in. We're going to talk about theories. We're going to watch movies and shows. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
You can do timeline order or
surrounded by nerds. Of course, timeline order. Of course.
Good.
So surrounded by nerds is going to be amazing. So
that's awesome.
Those are my people. You know what I mean? And
you can do that in a school.
That's it. Exactly. And then it's like the kids get, it's the whole thing. The kids like meet other kids and they're like, oh yeah, this is great. So it'll be fun.
Cool.
So, but anyways, thank you so much for coming through. We really appreciate it. And yes, best of luck to you this upcoming week and the rest of the fantasy year.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. See ya. All right. That's it. Look at that. Nerd Magnet Club. That's right.
Spags is the dude that like bullied those kids as they were going in to watch the movies.
No,
He's like,
get out of here.
Get out of here against the locker.
Come on. I'm a good guy.
No, Spags,
that's true. Spags is a good guy. Spags is a good guy. He's the guy that silently judges them. He doesn't say anything. He's just
hockey
like,
players, known good guys. None of them have ever bullied anybody.
So I'm a coward. You're calling me a coward. That's it. Yeah. I'm kidding.
Oh man. Well, anyways, that was it. It was a fun show. So big test this weekend. I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't know how much of the game I'm gonna be able to see. I gotta tape it because as any dads out there or moms that are listening, or even perhaps uncles and aunts out there that are listening, it is Halloween on Sunday, and it's a 4:00 game, right in the middle of prime trick or treat time. It's a little bit later, obviously, maybe like 5 or 6, but that's right in the middle of the game. So I will be taping the game and hopefully watching as much as I can, but I probably won't be live tweeting as much as I'd like to be. So, but what are you gonna do? You gotta do what you gotta do, right? So, but I'm pretty excited. My kids are. Let's see, Johnny's going as Miles Morales, which he's pumped about. It's a good one. It's like a good one. The whole mask and everything else like that. Nora is going as Hermione, which she's pumped about.
That's easy. That's good for you guys. Get a rope.
Dude,
throw a rope.
My sister-in-law, shout out to my sister-in-law, like legit like went to the Goodwill store and like bought a few things and is stitching on a patch. A Gryffindor patch is pretty cool. And then my middle child we found the perfect costume of all time for her. It is a half angel, half devil. It's literally a dress that is split in half white, half red, and it's like an angel devil. So it's so good. It's so good. So very excited about that. It fits perfectly for her.
That's what matters.
Yep. So it's good. But you guys going to any parties this weekend? I know you guys are single, living the single life.
Nope.
I'm not. Saturday. So I go on Saturday.
You dressing up?
I don't know what me and Miranda are gonna be.
Oh, baby.
We're debating a little bit here.
That's good. What's on the table right now? You guys gonna do a couple? You guys gotta do a couple.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I wanted to be MGK and Megan Fox. That would have been a good one.
So dope, dude.
You as MGK, I need all those pictures.
Bro, you should get like the arm sleeve
before.
Like the arm sleeve bands.
Justin Bieber and Haley Bieber. I don't know. I was Bieber once in college.
That's
But
so
yeah,
good.
I don't know. We got to figure it out. She's got work the next 2 days, so we're time's ticking.
Yep. That would be great. That's good. I like that a lot. Yeah,
I just got a
man.
new suit, so I think I might get like some really tacky accessories and go as like Wolf of Wall Street or something, like a bright yellow tie or something.
I like
Ugly.
that. I like
I might
that.
do that. Save
There
some
you go.
money.
I have I'm so not creative. One year my buddy, shout out my buddy, we were gonna go as Blue Man Group. And but he was going like hardcore. So he bought like the paint on like vinyl. You know what I'm saying? So he like painted on our faces. Well, he taped it. He he shaved first. So he shaved and then he starts painting it on and he's like, like dude, it was like in his pores. He was like dying.
What did you say? It gets stuck in his pores? That's
it was
terrible.
bad. It was bad news. So I was like, well, thank God you were the first one to do that and not me. So
Plan is so it's like it's tough this year because everything's kind of all over the place. But I've wanted for like 3 years now to go as one of the cops from Reno 911.
Oh my God, with the short shorts?
Yeah, with the short shorts, with the white cowboy boots, the ostrich boots, and I'll cut the mustache into just the mustache. Either that or I'll dye the mustache that goes down and be Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Like that's
So
been
good.
a plan for a long time.
My buddy did that. My buddy did
One of
that
those
once. So good. So good. Dark Blue Gold's Tim and Eric from the Pumper sketch. I assume that's from
some England stuff.
I wish you no. I think you should leave. Which is the Netflix special. It's like a cringy type of thing. So
Tim and Eric,
for those,
that's a different thing, no?
Maybe.
Yeah, comedy duo. I know. Yeah,
Isn't it?
They've got their. It's a great job. It's like their own show.
Oh, all right. Well, then I don't know. I thought it was. I think you should leave. I thought it was Tim Robinson.
Tim
but maybe not.
Robbins. Tim Robbins is who you're thinking of.
Tim and Eric, U.S. comedy duo. No, it's Tim Robinson is the guy who runs. Who does? What's it called? So I think you should leave.
Yeah, that's
Like he's like the guy in the hot dog costume who's like, we're looking for the guy
that's
who
a good
crashed
one.
the car in there. You know what I mean?
Guys, we won't be mad. I promise.
Yeah, right. Right. So, anyways, a lot of fun. Be careful. Be safe out there, people. Watch out for
Check your kids' candy.
For the weed gummies. Who no one's gonna give those out, but watch out for them anyways. So, and all you dads and moms out there, make sure to eat as much of your kids' candy as you can without them realizing you did it. That's the key. That's the key. You don't want to eat it all, but you gotta eat enough of it so that they don't realize you still get it, but they don't realize that you've been eating it. That's the key. That's what you got to do. All right.
Find the middle ground.
Exactly. So, all right, guys, thanks so much. And we'll see you next week.